Sir Isaac Newton, brilliant with numbers, found himself in India. He was driving a sputtering car down a rural road. The day was peaceful, and Newton enjoyed the quiet drive. Suddenly, he rounded a bend and stopped. A cow stood in the middle of the road, unmoving. Newton waited, but the cow ignored him. Minutes passed. The cow didn't budge. Newton grew impatient. He was stumped by this simple obstacle. With a sigh, he decided to take action. Newton's first move was simple. He honked the car's horn. The loud "oh-gah" echoed, startling birds and a distant dog. The cow barely reacted, just flicking an ear and continuing to chew. Newton was baffled. The horn didn't work. He tried again, blasting the horn several times. The noise was deafening, but the cow just mooed softly back. Newton grew frustrated. Cause and effect weren't working. The cow refused to move. Newton got out of the car. He tried shooing the cow away. The cow just watched him, unmoved. They faced off in the road. Newton spotted a stick nearby and picked it up, determined to try a new approach. He poked the cow gently with the stick. The cow shifted, taking a small step. Emboldened, Newton decided to use a bit more force. He swung the stick with full force. And the cow suddenly screamed, "Ma!" In a flash, Newton was struck by inspiration. F equals mass times acceleration. The physics of the moment hit him as hard as he'd hit the cow, with a playful twist of fate. Newton, feeling confident, got ready to push the cow. He braced himself and pushed hard. "Time to move," he told the cow. He used all his strength. The cow, annoyed, tensed up. It grunted and pushed back. Newton lost his balance. He was thrown backward. For a moment, he was airborne. He landed in a muddy ditch. Dazed and muddy, he sat up. The cow calmly walked away. The road was clear at last. Locals found Newton and took him to a hospital. The cow looked back, almost as if it winked. Newton couldn't help but see the irony. Lying in a clean, quiet hospital bed with his ankle bandaged and propped up on a pillow, Newton had a lot of time to think. The initial embarrassment and pain began to fade, replaced by a slow dawning sense of wonder. He replayed the entire encounter in his mind, not as a personal failure, but as a scientific experiment. The cow, he realized, had not been just a stubborn animal. It had been a teacher, a furry, four-legged professor of physics. It had demonstrated the fundamental principles of motion more clearly than any falling apple ever could. He looked out the hospital window, a small smile forming on his face. The universe worked in mysterious and often hilarious ways. This whole painful episode was, in fact, a perfect lesson. First, he thought about his initial frustration. The cow was standing still, and it wanted to stay standing still. It was an object at rest, and it demonstrated a powerful desire to remain at rest. This, he realized, was the first law of motion inertia. An object will not change its motion unless a force acts on it. The cow wasn't being stubborn, it was simply obeying physics. His horn and his shouted words were not a strong enough force to overcome its massive inertia. It was perfectly happy where it was, and it was going to take more than a bit of noise to change its mind. It was the universe's most peaceful protest, a silent demonstration of a fundamental law. The cow simply had no reason to move, so it didn't. Then, he considered his second attempt, the push. When he applied a force by pushing the cow, it moved. A small push resulted in a small movement. A larger push was meant to create a larger movement. This was a perfect illustration of his second law of motion. The acceleration of an object is directly related to the force applied to it. Force equals mass times acceleration. To get the large mass of the cow to accelerate, he needed to apply a significant force. His gentle push proved the principle, even if it was only a small shuffle. He had successfully applied a force and changed the cow's state of motion, moving it from rest. The law was sound. The experiment was working. His mistake was in not appreciating the next step. Finally, and most painfully, he thought about the moment he went flying. He had pushed on the cow with all his might. In return, the cow had pushed back on him with an equal and opposite force. This was his third law of motion, delivered with unforgettable clarity. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. He had acted upon the cow, and the cow had reacted upon him. Since he had a much smaller mass than the cow, that equal force sent him flying while the cow barely budged. He was a living testament to the law. The cow wasn't being mean. It was simply a perfect, living example of classical mechanics. Lying in his hospital bed, Newton felt a sense of gratitude. He had come to India for a holiday but had received one of the best physics lessons of his life, all thanks to a truly remarkable cow. For more similar stories, follow Prakash Academy.